Hello, my beautiful friends. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. It's a big hair day today. I don't know what's going on. I had a really good session last night, and I'm getting ready to head into my session for Holy Week. I'm doing studying and praying and just focusing and trying to do things every day that bring meaning to me as we go into Holy Week, as we head toward Maundy, Thursday. And so I've been working on, I had finished the Druid book that came with the Druid Box, and it was a good book overall. I would say there was a lot of things in there about the Welsh, and I don't really know a whole lot about the Welsh. You know, Celtic spirituality, we often think of being Irish or Scottish, or Irish and Scottish, maybe English. But it does, the Celtic spirituality includes the Welsh, includes the Isle of Man, Cornwall, Brittany. So there are 7 Celtic nations. So that was interesting. And one of the things that the book talks about is this thing called the Coelbren alphabet, which I had never heard of before. And this guy discovered it, and, the guy who wrote the book's a friend of his. So, I don't know. It didn't, I wrote everything down. I did study it. But like the alphabet, I will read you the alphabet. It is A, E, I, O, U, I, E, Ki, D, Fi, G, or Gi, He, Li, Mi, Ni, Pi, Ri, Lishi, Liti, The, Hali, V, and Kahi. It did not resonate with me. And I looked to see if I could buy stones with this alphabet on it. You can't find them anywhere. There's only one book written about it. So I think this guy put it in his book, and I wrote it down, and I thought it was interesting. Probably more valuable were some of the Welsh names for the Eightfold Wheel. The Albans, which I always thought were Scottish, are actually the Welsh names. Alban Eiler, which is what we just celebrated, Alban Alfred. But that was interesting. And then there were Welsh names for the others that I never knew that there were Welsh names for, So that was interesting. And then I did a rune pull, which I'm going to do one now after I'm off of here. But I wanted to just share with you what came up yesterday. I used the Coelbren method, but with rune stones. So you pick 3, and the one in the center is your present space. And then the one, so like kind of where you are. And then the one to the right of that is what will help you. And what is to the left of you is what you must learn. So I used that approach to reading, and Dagus came up as where I'm at. And then what will help me was Athala. And then what I must learn was Manus, which is humanity. So, like my sort of takeaway was that I'm in Dagus. I'm in my new reality. I'm practicing as a Christian Druid and being here in this platform, talking about the existence of Christian Druids. And I did appreciate in this book that he did talk about Christian Druids as well as Jewish Druids and other kinds of Druids. But he did talk fairly a lot about Christian Druids, which is probably the only place I've ever seen that. But of course I've learned this from my ancestors, and they're here to help me. And that ancestral wisdom, I should always be looking for it. And then what I must learn is how to use this wisdom, how to incorporate this wisdom to help others, with I don't know, just breaking down the barriers of what religion has taught us. And we are, as humans, silo ourselves and like, well, I'm this religion, and I'm that denomination, and I'm this, and I'm that. And I find meaning in really all of the denominations, whether I'm in a Roman Catholic church or an Anglican church, an Episcopal church, a Lutheran church, a Baptist church. I mean, I feel like I can go in any one of them and find meaning. There are others who, when I walk in, they're like, well, why is she here? Or you need to become one of us to be here. I'm not quite so fond of that approach, because I really don't think that's what Jesus had in mind. So I think, I thought it was a really cool way to read the stones. It's a little bit different for me than I'm used to. So, and then I read some cards to go with it. So I'm going to do that again tonight. I finished this book, so I'm looking for a new book. of things to read, and I've been focusing a lot about, just doing a lot more of my own. I do a lot with herbs. I make a lot of things, but I buy the herbs, and so I'm trying to learn a little bit more about growing them myself. And really, because I think I have an inner prepper inside of me. My brother's a prepper. He's a good prepper, my brother. And I know some really good preppers who, if the world went south tomorrow, could like live on their own. I could do a pretty good job, but I don't, the thing is I have the knowledge about what herbs to use for medicine, but I don't grow them myself. So that's what I'm trying to learn. I'm going to pull the runes. I'm actually going to pull them. I did take out a bunch of extra stones out of my bag. It took me too long to unpack this bag every time I was doing it. So, we have the Green Man crystal. We have our stones from Iona, which is in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, if you're new. That brown one is one that I picked up off the beach. That was right outside of our Airbnb. And this is one that I purchased in the store because I wanted to support the economy. It's part of a book. And then I have my heart from Mexico, from Alicia. And I have my stone from Iceland that my boss brought back that I think has like a face in it. You have to hold it a certain way to see the face. It's like a little alien. My ancient alien stone. All right, so the way that this works is in past, present, future. The stone in the middle is the present energy that I'm in. Which is Othala, ancestral wisdom. What will help me is the next stone that goes to the right of this one. It's Perthrow, which is dice cup, chance, luck. It's the stone we know least about. I was just talking about the stone with somebody. That's the stone we know least about. And what do I need to learn? It was, which is transportation. I'm going to go think about this and see what message Spirit has for me. Weird combination of stones. Who knows? I'll be right back. So the sort of the oddball stone in here is this Perthrow, and that's mostly because it's dice cup, it's chance, it's unknown. So it's not known what will help me, but Othala is ancestral connection, and then Iwaz is about, I'll just read some things to you. Transportation and movement, progress, trust and change, teamwork and alliance, friendship, loyalty, honor and devotion, truth, harmonious connection, move from one situation to another, free spirit, spirit of the wind, movement, change for yourself, new and exciting adventures and projects. So I think the ancestors maybe are telling me that there's going to be movement. We're not quite sure how it's going to happen, or that I just need to trust in the universe that it will happen, that there's nothing I can do to make it happen, that it's going to happen, and I just need to be patient. No idea what that means. I think sometimes when we talk about ancestral things, I know a lot of people in my life just roll their eyes, and they're just like, oh, gee, you're such a nice lady. You're clearly very smart. Why do you talk such nonsense to us? But I think our ancestors do have, I think they play a big role in our lives, right? Because, like, I always think about this when I do my ancestor meditation. I close my eyes, I do my breathing, I do all that, and I imagine myself standing, and then I imagine the couplings that happen behind me, right? So my mother and my biological father. And I always go on my mother's side because I know more about them. So, her parents who had her. And then I go with her mother. So then her parents that had her. And then I go with the father. Then their parents, so I think back to the couplings. And, if you know anything about biology, you know that in a woman, like my grandchildren are inside of me. They're inside of me and they get passed down to my children through me. So those eggs go, they go and to the next generation. And obviously girls. I didn't have any girls, but so I was in my grandmother's womb, so to speak, right? Because she had my mother had me. So there's that ancestral connection there. So ancestors are so important. And it's not just your cultural, being English and being Scottish, and those things are important. But just having that connection to that wisdom and that knowledge, and the, when you think back of all the generations that, if you are Christian, all the generations shall call me blessed, all those that have come before us, and then all those who will come after us. That's a long list of people, with hopes and dreams and, sicknesses and joyful things and playtime and music and laughter, and good food and good fellowship, and a lot harder work and the way back generations, because holy smokes, we have everything really easy today, right? But it just is worth, and especially during Holy Week, thinking about all of those generations that have come before us, and the roles that we've played in the peace and in the transgressions of this world, right? My family, neither one of my biological parents, they were first generation Americans. So like none of my family was here, for what we did to the native people of this land. None of my people were here for what happened during the times of slavery. There was all kinds of slavery that went on. Of course, the Southern slavery is the most well known, but we had all kinds of slavery going on throughout the history of this country. But my family wasn't here, because my family's only been here since the 1920s. So, when you think about all of the reasons why people left and came here, my mother's family was escaping the poorhouse. That is why they came here. There were lots of stories, right? There were a lot of stories about why they left, but when it came down to brass tacks, and I went down and I did a deep dive into the research, that was a reality. They were just trying to keep themselves out of the poorhouse and the workhouses, which were torturous in that time period. I don't know much about my father's side. So I think it's so important, especially, I don't know, Easter time seems, and like all the holidays, really, you think about your family, but thinking about those ancient ancestors and thinking about the lives they led and how we got to where we are today. It's so incredible, so important, and it's worth the time and effort that you take to do it. So I'm gonna go do it, and I am wishing you all the best and light and love. Be well, take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.